ROS.
Yeah, and that's why during hypoxia, it's just kind of a little counterintuitive. Hypoxia, low oxygen, yet you get more reactive oxygen species. What the hell is happening here?
Yeah. Well,
So
less flow.
less flow, exactly.
Yeah, the flow. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because oxygen is the ultimate acceptor, right? It's what allows the flow. It's like the final destination for electrons, for flowing electrons. So and the kinetics and kind of the affinity is such that if you decrease ambient oxygen and partial pressure of oxygen inside a mitochondrion, complex 4 is going to be more sensitive to it, and then the resistance in the system is going to increase, and then the electrons are going to experience more resistance, and then they're going to backflow, and they're going to find even if there's less oxygen, they're going to find it to create reactive oxygen species. So that's why hypoxia leads to more ROS because of increased energy resistance. And then to close the loop on your question about chronic physical activity or exercise, what happens is cells make more mitochondria. Kind of one of the first adaptation with the chronic endurance exercises, the cell will make more of those parallel channels for electrons to flow towards oxygen. So mitochondrial biogenesis. And then outside the cells will secrete cytokines to produce more capillaries, right? Why do you need more capillaries with exercise? Because you need to bring oxygen and food substrates to you make more mitochondria, you need to feed them. So then angiogenesis, the growth of new blood vessels around the working muscles happen.
Increases flux, increases energy resistance.
Yeah. So more mitochondria, more capillaries to feed them. And then there's also central adaptation, like hematocrit might increase. You make more red blood cells, especially if you train at altitude. And then there are cardiac adaptations and cardiovascular adaptations. And then eventually central adaptations where you start to enjoy and have confidence in your ability to dissipate energy resistance. So then it's no longer a really adverse thing that you feel energy resistance and it's the worst thing, because you can overcome it. You can create energy resistance in your body by running or by lifting or whatever, and then that when you stop, then your cardiovascular system, your breath, and your mitochondria can take care of decreasing that energy resistance. And that happens, multi-level. There's psychological adaptations, behavioral adaptations. There's physiological, cardiovascular, heart, lung, and then there's cellular level, and then molecular level changes in gene expression. So at every level, the system is tuned to sense energy resistance and then mobilize adaptations that will minimize deviations as spikes in energy resistance.
So how do cells communicate their energy resistance state, and how does that tie into inflammation, cytokines, and all this stuff?
Yeah, maybe I can say a bit about like reductive stress.